Hi! Today's project is a crochet project. I am not a very fluent crocheter. I don't crochet a lot. I do enjoy an occasional project, and one of my favorite projects is these flower bookmarks. I use them all the time. It's my favorite bookmark, and it's a very beginner project. That is why I feel like I can make this video, because it's very beginner. And I'm making this video because when I first wanted to make myself a flower bookmark, I could not find a tutorial that I liked on the internet. All of the beginner tutorials were flowers that I didn't really like, and all the flowers that I did like were really complicated tutorials, and so I kind of made my own combination to make this project. So I decided today that I was making some bookmarks because tis the season for reading. Since it's getting into winter, the daylight hours are diminishing and the inside time is increasing. And here in Hawaii, it's rainy season, which means a lot more time is spent inside. So I've been reading a lot more, and I just thought would be a fun project to share if you're interested in doing a little quick crochet project. And the nice thing about this process that I do is that it's very customizable. Based off of your level, you can make cooler flowers or cooler leaves. You can customize it to however you want it to look. So I'm going to zoom in on the table a little bit and just real quick show you how to make a cute little flower bookmark for your current reading endeavors. Here is a closer look at these flower bookmarks. Like I said, since I am a beginner, this is not a revolutionary concept. I just looked up how to do a flower, and I chose to make this flower. I looked up how to do leaves, and I made these leaves, and then how to make little spheres. And so I made those and attached them to the bottom. And then I just attached everything together with a stem. So all I'm showing today is how to attach everything in order to make a flower bookmark. So to make one flower bookmark like these, you need one flower, 2 of the balls, and then 2 leaves. Yarn, the color of the stem that you want to make, and of course a crochet hook and a yarn needle. This crochet hook that I'm using is size F. It doesn't really matter. Obviously you want the bookmark to be a little bit thinner so that when it sits inside of the book, it doesn't bulge too much. So I went for thinner thread and not too big of a needle so that everything stays small. So I started just by chaining a bunch of just a long chain. Your chain length depends on how long you want your bookmark to be. I want mine to stick out of both ends and to fit in all of my books. So let's take this one for example. I just finished reading Uncle Tom's Cabin, great book. And this, looking at my bookshelf, this is a pretty average size book for myself. So I measured it when I was doing the body of the bookmark. I just measured against the book to see, making sure I leave about 2 inches at the top to attach the leaves so that they can still dangle out, and about 1 inch or 2 at the bottom so that those can dangle out as well. My bookmark ended up being about 11 inches or 28 centimeters total. Okay, so it's time to make the stem. Again, like I said, I am a beginner crocheter, so don't judge me if I'm doing something weird. And you're just going to chain until you have your desired length. I'm not going to give any tips on crocheting because I'm probably the one that needs tips on crocheting. Once my chain has reached my desired length, it's about as long as my previous bookmark, I'm going to turn around and single crochet all the way back down. I do this to add a little bit of stability and structure to the bookmark so that it's not quite as flimsy. And I do it so that I can separate the bottom to have these little roots, little danglies. So single crochet all the way back down, stopping about an inch from the bottom. I don't know what that is in centimeters, sorry, maybe 3 centimeters from the bottom. It's personal preference, again. Stop however far away you want for your dangles to be the length that you want them to be. I feel so vulnerable showing my a zoom in of my crochet stitches on this video because I'm not very confident. But the point being that this is a very beginner project, and I was just so proud of myself for thinking of a beginner level solution to my problem of wanting to make this cute flower bookmark. Oh, I attached one of my hairs is getting crocheted in. I've been really on the go making these bookmarks for gifts lately. It's so fun. Especially if you are wanting to give someone a book for a gift, it's extra fun to slide in this little bookmark with it. I'm approaching the end of my chain here. This is a pretty good length for me, so I think that I'm just going to chain off the rest of it to make my other dangle section, as you can see there. So I just stop single crocheting and I just chain out a few chains. I do like to make these little legs slightly different lengths from each other so that the balls that are dangling at the end they're at a little bit different heights from each other. That looks like it's about one chain. I'm gonna take out one chain so that it's slightly shorter. And then going to trim off the end here and pull it through. Oh, there's something very important that I forgot to mention earlier. Okay, sorry, I'm just pulling this through to finish off this last stitch. Okay, the important thing that I forgot to mention earlier is when you are making all of your pieces to the bookmark, leave your ends super long. Leave the tails super long. That'll make it a lot easier when you're attaching everything later. I always use these ends to tie in the pieces into the stem. Okay, so now I have my stem and I'm going to attach everything together. Starting with the flower. The flower I attach at the very top. I like the stem to be coming out from in between two of the petals. So that's where I am placing it. And I'm going to secure it using the tails that I left on my flower. This is when the yarn needle comes into play. I'm going to trim these down so that they're the same length. Pop them in through the yarn needle. And I'm ready to attach. Back of the flower, back of the stem, And what I do here is I just kind of weave it all together. So I'm going to go get in one of the flower loops really close to where the stem is, and then go in through one of the stem loops. And then I'm going to go back down through the other side of the stem and attach it to another side of the flower. Oops, I didn't mean to pull my yarn out quite yet. It slipped out of my needle. And then I'm going to put it through again, just to make sure it's super secure. And I go down just a little bit so that it's secured in multiple places. It holds it a little bit steadier. And then I just have to tie it off. I'm a fan of the loop through method. Again, I don't know what the proper ways to tie anything off are, but this is what I do. And then once I feel like it is secure, I weave in the ends around the rest of the flower to tuck them away. And once it's weaved through a few things, then I just trim it off. And now my flower is attached. That's what it's looking like from the front so far. Moving down to the leaves. I found such excellent YouTube tutorials on all of these pieces. I basically just clicked on the first tutorial that popped up when I said crochet flower and crochet leaf. And they were perfect. So I highly recommend doing that. Lots of beginner-friendly options out there. And if you want your flower, your bookmark to look even more special, then there are advanced flower patterns to choose from. Okay, so for this part, I like to attach my leaves pretty close to the flower so that they will hang out of the book. I also try to attach the leaf so that it stays angling upwards a little bit. So I thread one of the tails, and I'm actually gonna hold the flower backwards. I'm just going to weave it into two of these side chains actually. And all of this, I just really make it up as I go. So don't rely on me too much here. I'm really just kind of weaving together what I can to make sure that it stays secure and that it stays positioned in the way that I want it to stay positioned. So I just kind of weave it around a little bit, and look, that's already looking perfect for what I want. I'm going to push this through to switch it over to the back side of the stem. And then I'm going to tie it off and weave in the ends. I should have left the tails of my leaves slightly longer. It would have made this process a little bit easier. Weave in the ends as inconspicuously as I can. Oh, just going to cut it off there. Good enough. Cute. And then the other tail of the leaf, just going to weave that tail in as well. Just going to weave it into the back of the leaf to secure it. First leaf done, looking so cute. I like to do 2 leaves. So I'm going to attach the other leaf staggered slightly down on the other side. So again, just picking a couple of chains to attach it to. And then I attach the leaf in a couple of places as well, so that everything stays sturdy, nothing's too floppy around. And looking good. So I'm going to push this end to the back, and same as the other leaf, tie it off and weave in the ends on this side and the tail on the other end of the leaf. Alrighty, the final thing to attach is the dangles at the bottom. The dangles are the most confusing for me to make and the most confusing for me to attach. I also don't think I left the tails long enough on these, but oh well. I think what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to do this part. I usually do this part with my hook. I just hook through the last chain, grab one of these tails from the ball, and pull it through. And once it's right up against the bottom of the chain, I tie a knot. Once I tie the knot, that's pretty much, I feel like that's probably the only thing I have to do to attach these dangles. The knot is secure. I'm just going to cut everything to the same length here. Pop it through the trusty yarn needle. Let's see if we can get it all at one time. Probably gonna have to separate the strands. Okay. Putting them through one by one. Once I have it all threaded up, I'm just going to push it down and through the bottom of the sphere. And I did push that backwards, I know. It's because my tail I didn't leave long enough to push the needle through the right way. And then I'm just going to trim off the bottom. And that way, all of the tails are trapped on the inside of the sphere. Perfect. Doing it to the other side. So again, I'm taking one of the tails to the ball. I could use my yarn needle instead of the hook. It's the same concept. It's just harder for me to thread the needle. That's why I tend to gravitate towards the hook. Putting it through the last chain, pulling it right up to the edge, and then taking the other tail of the ball and tying it into a knot. Whoop. Leaving out that chain tail. Once it's secure, taking all the tails. Oh good, this tail I left nice and long. That'll make my life easier for this step. Threading the needle with all 3 tails. Oh no, one of the tails I put in going the other way. And now I can use the needle the correct way, shove it through the top of the ball, push it out through the bottom, pull everything so that it's tucked in nicely. And once everything's tucked in, just trimming off the edges, making sure not to cut any of my crochet stitches. And here we have it. My flower is a little bit spirally at the moment, but after it's spent some good time in a book, it'll be nice and flattened out. Yay! And it's the perfect length. It hangs out at the top and at the bottom. And then your book looks so cute when it's hanging out with a flower. Flower in the spine. So I hope that this video was helpful to someone. This is the kind of video that I was looking for when I was originally trying to make myself a flower bookmark. So I made this video for my past self, and hopefully some future person enjoys it as well. Enjoy making your flower bookmarks, and hope you're reading a lot. Bye.